presentation by Henry, whom I've already introduced. I'm going to reintroduce him. We are slightly running behind, so the following speakers will have to do with less time, but I think that we still have enough time to give you the benefit of full immersion in the world of democratic education. This is a person who grew up within the walls of a democratic school, who knows everything about it. When I heard him speak for the first time, I didn't know who that person was. I hadn't met him. I didn't know how much experience he had amassed, and that any time he speaks, I always have this very warm and fuzzy sensation, and I always feel so thankful and appreciative because he has the talent of putting complex concept in simple terms. He's told so many times stories how he climbed the trees, how he would kick somebody off a swing or something. It's something that he probably is still doing it every once in a while. He's been so sincere, and he's held on to it. I'm happy to introduce Mr. Henry Readhead. A person who is probably the person who's the most profoundly immersed person in democratic education among all of us.
Cool. Hi, thank you everybody. Hi. Cool, okay, thank you very much. So, now yesterday I did a session that was talking... How many of you came to my session yesterday? Oh, pretty good. Do you all remember the 4 main core parts of the philosophy? Remember, I'm testing you. Cool, okay, for those of you who didn't come, I'm going to just quickly explain the 4 main elements of Summerhill School. Freedom without license. Freedom without license. Not just freedom, remember everybody, no. Freedom without license, yeah? And equality, and the meeting process, and non-compulsion to lessons are the main 4 elements, okay? So, the other thing that I just want to sort of quickly add as well that I spoke about yesterday is the importance of educating the whole child, individualizing education and educating the whole child, emotions and the academic as well, yeah? So what I wanted to do today is I just want to, I want to try and be quick. I know yesterday I went on too long, we didn't have any questions, and I know that my time has also been cut. So I'm going to try and be as quick as possible. But I want it to connect a little bit to the discussion that just happened, because I'm very aware that we're here at this conference talking about education, and we always seem to talk about education from education's and society's perspective. And so I want you to come on a bit of a journey with me now where we don't think about education from society and education's perspective. We think about education for human beings. We think about it the other way round. We think about it as childhood. We think about it as children playing and actually having a childhood, and thinking about it as the needs of humanity rather than the needs of society. The reason why I want to paint that picture is because I think I'll talk specifically about Summerhill because that's what I know. But for me, that's what we do at Summerhill, and I think that that's what we do within democratic education as well. So I want you to join me on this little journey. So we're gonna imagine being a 5-year-old coming to Summerhill School. They don't have to start at 5. There's many questions people may have about the enrollment at Summerhill, but I won't go into detail about that. But I just want to talk about a 5-year-old coming to Summerhill School and being given freedom. And the first thing that happens is children play. And my mother, Zoe, talks about the natural play at Summerhill. It's nothing to do with adults. It's nothing to do with what we think is best for children or how we think children should play. We just leave children to do the thing that they're designed to do better than anything else on the whole planet, and that is play. And they play, and they play, and I did this yesterday. They play, everybody knows me, they play, and they play, and then they play. And then they play, and then they play, and then they play. They play. I can't emphasize it enough. Every single thing around them, they play with everything. They're learning by play. Play is the most powerful tool to learn. And all we do by creating learning things that children have to do is we limit the most powerful learning tool in the world. Yeah? And the best bit about play is that they're socializing all the time. They're connecting with each other. They're learning all of these wonderful words that we talk about with education, like collaboration and working in groups, learning how to work with each other and all of these things. They do this by play. They do it naturally. We don't have to teach them how to do this. We don't have to create these environments where children learn how to work with each other because they're doing it purely by play. So at Summerhill, children play. That's the first thing they do. Now, I'm going to quickly just talk about the learning environments at Summerhill and how they interlink. First of all, they are completely open plan, which means that children can access whenever they want to. So I remember being a child and I'd be playing, killing dragons and living the wonderful fantasy I spoke about yesterday. We don't have a dragon problem at Summerhill. We don't have a dragon problem. Or orcs, zombies, we don't have them. Yeah, so play, play, play. It happens on and on and on and on and on. And then, but the classroom, it's interesting that people kind of feel that we should worry about those kind of elements. We should make them enticing. We should make classrooms to say, come to me, children, and come and learn this mathematics. And let's make it wonderful and exciting for people. The reality is it actually is wonderful and exciting. But we seem to taint it down. Because of this world we live in of compulsion, we seem to think that mathematics and all of these wonderful subjects and all of the wonderful things that is out there to learn, that we're worried that children won't learn, it's all so interesting. It's all there. And so I remember doing it. I went and I did maths. I actually learned math. Believe it or not, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I bet you're all thinking, no. I learned how to read. I did it. It happened. I didn't. And it was with freedom. Can you believe it? It's ridiculous, isn't it? I know you're thinking, this is crazy talk. Well, how could this happen? Yeah, it actually happened. And in fact, I've been involved with Summerhill now for way too long. Way too long. 40 years. I haven't known one person who's left Summerhill who can't read and write and can't do basic maths to the level that they need it. Not one. 40 years. Everybody seems to think if you give freedom, oh no, children won't learn. Learning is great. It's okay. Sorry, I just want to emphasize that. So, the next kind of part to the process within natural play is having a situation, and I talked about this yesterday, about equality. Yeah, we've got to be able to create equality, to celebrate individuality, to celebrate all of us as individual human beings, which we were talking about in the discussion earlier. To celebrate individuality, you have to be able to create equality. You have to be able to accept that not everybody is the same. We don't look the same. We're not the same color. We don't sound the same. We're not the same gender. We're all different in many, many different ways. And it's wonderful that we are. It's the most beautiful, as Yakov said, it is the most beautiful, wonderful thing in the world. And to celebrate that, to unite that with that wonderful question you had, we're all human. That's the unity. We're all human, yeah? And so the most important thing that we need to be able to solve in today's society with that sort of thing is that equality. And we do that with the meeting process, because the meeting process at Summerhill is how we create that individuality, that equality, how we create that balance. Okay? Now, it's so cool watching. I'm going to just tell you this quickly at the moment. At Summerhill, we have loads of little tiny kids. They're like 5, 6 years old. And the way they access the meeting is the most cute thing ever. There's like, we're all there talking about these big big problems, and yes, how much screen time should children have? Arguably the biggest thing that people are talking about today in the world, and we don't even know how to solve it. You ask the kids. They know. They're doing it. But you have these little tiny kids. They're 5 years old, and they're going, yeah, I think we should have more tractors. More tractors. Yeah. More. They don't know. Now, do I vote? Is this good? No, I don't get it. No. And then also with the conflict resolution as well, because, naturally, obviously, conflict happens within natural play. That's the beauty of humanity as well. And the same thing happens. I'm bringing this person here up because they said something horrible to that person over there. Is that right? Is that okay? They don't know. It's all part of that wonderful play. They're still trying things out. They're learning about their rights. As 5-year-olds, as 6-year-olds, it's achingly beautiful when you have a situation where you have a 5-year-old who's bringing up another 5-year-old, a young girl, who's saying, that person said something horrible to me and it upset me and I don't like it. A 5-year-old being able to do that is the most powerful, beautiful thing on the planet. Yeah? You're teaching people rights at that age. You're giving them, but you're doing it in such a natural way. It's just life. That's what it is, It's so beautiful. And seeing it happen at Summerhill, it happens all the time. It's like the day-to-day thing. Conflict resolution. They're always talking about it. They're not getting it right all the time. Oh, God, no. Oh, we get it wrong. Democracy sucks sometimes. Shh. No. Democracy is always great. Never fails. Woohoo. No, we do get it wrong sometimes, but that's okay. It's all right. We're living life. We're breathing. We're having these wonderful emotional connections. They're not real. They are real. They're not always right. They're not always good. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we get sad. Sometimes we get happy. Sometimes there's nearly all the time there's an endless love. It is the truth of it. Sometimes, I remember as a kid, I remember hating, I hate you. Oh, I really hate you. Hatred is a very immature thing, really. But it's just really pure. It's really pure human emotion. It's really real. I can't emphasize that enough. And I really feel so strongly, we always, when we're here, we had this wonderful panel of people. We have an audience of just wonderful people who are doing wonderful things. But it's all about emotion in the end. It's all about feelings. It's all about humanity. We have to kind of remember that. And I think it's really easy when we're thinking about education and we're thinking about the society's expectation and employment and how are we going to solve all these problems in the world. Our children have the answer. We have the answer to all of those things, yeah? It's just really important. Okay. Now, wait, how much time have I got? Have I got someone to... Ooh, I've got 10 minutes. Ooh. You've got to put up with me for 10 more minutes. Yes! Sorry. Okay, so the meeting process. So, now naturally also what children do is they go through a period of time when my grandfather, A.S. Neal, called this the gangster age. The thing is that I don't really want to set anything to major time zones, just because the reality is when you're individualizing education, everything kind of comes a bit differently. But it's really important to know that there is a time when kids will push boundaries and they will break laws and they will do all of the most... I remember sneaking out. It's a boarding school, Summerhill, for you who don't know, and you sneak out at night and you're not allowed to, and you go on these little adventures and shh, shh, and you put oil on the doors hinges so that the door doesn't squeak. Because you know you're going to get fined. It's just no good, you know? You know, can you imagine, are you with me? And then you're sneaking. I mean, the best adventures that I remember of Summerhill School were those times, those things of doing things that were just a little bit bad. You know. You've got a little one there. Planning already. Gonna sneak out and everything. I'm watching you. Yeah, it's that natural sort of energy of childhood. It's that part that we all do that's kind of really important. And we trust in childhood. We trust in children. And so we let those things happen. The important thing, it's not that we let them happen. It's wrong to say that. We don't let them happen. They're breaking the law. If someone gets caught sneaking out at Summerhill, they will get a fine. If they make noise and they wake someone up, they will get a fine. But we accept the reality is that these things need to happen. They do need to happen. They're part of, but you can say it's wrong. If someone wakes me up, I'm going to be very angry and say, don't wake me up. Of course. That's my right as well. So it's really important to have the system. So going back to the freedom without license, going back to equality, and going back to the meeting process, these tools that we use in the Summerhill system means that we can give childhood back, all of these wonderful, adventurous times. Okay. 5 minutes? All right. It probably won't be much of a Q&A. Sorry, everybody. I get excited. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to talk now about so the next kind of area is when children kind of enter the age range of sort of 13 up to 15, 16, 17, when they're then thinking about those next stages. Now, the thing is that in childhood, saying you get bored of play is not the right terminology, but you do want to move into that more mature time in your life. When your childhood has been fulfilled, naturally, kids start to think about those next steps. What is it that is going to happen next? And even academic subjects. At Summerhill School, we offer GCSEs, and I would say 90% of all of our children that go through Summerhill will do the national British qualification, and most of them will go to college, and a lot of them will go to university, in the same way as any state school. And this is the time when they start thinking about those things. They start thinking about, okay, what do I want to be? What do I want to be when in the future? What qualifications do I need? What if I want to go to that university, and that university needs 3 A-levels, and then I need 6 GCSEs to get to that college, then I need to do 6 GCSEs at Summerhill. So then they start thinking about that, and then they start going to lessons, because they're thinking about that next element. It's a real, I'm just quickly going to link back to what I said at the beginning. It's a real myth that learning is not a good thing. It's because we've applied, in the state system, we've applied compulsion. We've made the most difficult learning environment between the teacher who loves their subject and loves to teach, and the student who is or should be interested and passionate and enthusiastic. We've created compulsion and made it really strict and made it a really horrible environment. But the reality is learning is a wonderful, powerful, beautiful thing. Yeah, and that relationship between learner and teacher can be great as well. Teacher, adult, other child, whoever, wherever you're learning the information, it's all about that relationship to learning. And so at Summerhill, that's kind of the system. That's kind of how it works. Children will come, they will play. Sometimes children come because obviously society and sometimes parenting trends will put a lot of pressure onto children. And in those circumstances, they have a lot of anger and a lot of hatred to get out, and they have to reconnect. And sometimes this can take quite a lot of time. And this is another reason why the Summerhill system works so well, because it allows for that to happen. It allows for children to be angry for a few years and just not, oh, I hate the system, oh, I hate it, oh, I hate you all. It's okay. And they can have that time to fix those historical problems they may have. But the most beautiful part is that it comes from humanity. It comes from natural play. It comes from the need of human beings. And then they grow naturally, and at Summerhill, they then leave and they go to college. So when you compare Summerhill and state system, generally we are higher than the national average of exam passes, and a lot of our kids go on to university. They don't all, but a lot of them go on to university in the same way. But they've had a wonderful and beautiful childhood. Cool. Okay, I just want to read one quick quote. Sorry, I've gone over time. I apologize to you. The timekeeper at the front here, she's going, Henry, I mean, come on, Henry. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to read this quote quickly. This is an A.S. Neil quote from the 60s. He said, the future of Summerhill itself may be of little import, but the Summerhill idea is of the greatest importance to humanity. New generations must be given the chance to grow in freedom.
Well, of course it's...
The bestowal of freedom is the bestowal of love, and only love can change the world. Thank you. Chocolates, thank you very much.